Welcome back to the Scotti-BYTE channel, and this is Scott. I think we would all agree that security is one of those things that we can never have enough of, especially in today's environment. And in the self-hosting environment, security is something that we often just assume that we have. So today, I want to look at an application that I found by a contributor by the name of Alicia Sykes. And this one is called WebCheck. And WebCheck was last released on May the 20th. It seems to be under active development. And basically, what WebCheck is, it is an application that you can point to any website and have it do an analysis of that particular website. So here is what the WebCheck main page looks like, and one of their suggestions is to go to duck.com, which is what duck.com uses, the search engine. So I'll go ahead and say https://duck.com, and then it will go off and analyze that website. And so as an example here, it says where it is hosted out of, and it goes ahead and gives you information about its SSL certificate. It does a domain whois, and it does basic server information, social tags, and then it has a couple of things that it has X's in front of. So, for example, DOH support for the DNS server is not present. Frequently, that's really not present on a website. You could implement it. I don't think it's really necessary. Then they have firewall information here, and they say again that they've got an X in front of it. And that's really because when looking at a website, you can't really detect a firewall per se, and you may have other security. And then it has archive history. It gives threats, whether there's any phishing vulnerabilities found or malware vulnerabilities found. They have information on the TLS security, and then they have information on the security contacts. So this particular website does not have a security contact. Certainly when you bring up a website, that's one of your options. They bring up some TLS security issues, and then they have handshake simulations for all of the different OSs to show you which ones are clearly supported by that website and which ones are not. They've got DNS security. I always think about using DNS security from my web browser, not necessarily from a web server, but I think it's interesting they bring that up here. And then they list block lists for various things like AdGuard, basically to say whether or not that this website is normally blocked. And then they give you information on the pages, showing you all the various pages on the website. They show you the redirects, and of course DuckDuckGo redirects to duck.com. And then at the bottom, they have a number of other external tools outside of this WebCheck that you can go to look up further information or do further analysis. Anyway, this seems like a really great self-hosted application to check the security of your self-hosted websites. If we go back over to the WebCheck GitHub page, you'll see that you can deploy WebCheck via Docker with the simple Docker run command. And notice that by default, it uses port 3000. So in keeping with the channel, I'm going to go ahead and deploy the WebCheck application with an Incus OCI container. Here we are at the terminal of one of my test Incus servers, and if I do an Incus list, I have the Ghost application and the Speed Test application, and you'll note off to the right in the container, type, we have container, and then it says parenthetically APP, which means that all of those containers are Docker OCI containers. And so we want to be able to install WebCheck as being one of our applications here, but speed test uses port 3000 back at the Incus host level. If you have not yet watched my video entitled Incus Docker Containers, you want to go back and do that, but beginning in Incus version 6.3 and 6.4 now, Incus containers support Docker OCI containers, meaning the Open Container Initiative. And so we have the ability to do that, but after we have either Incus 6.3 or 6.4 and following versions installed, you would need to add the Docker repository with an Incus remote add Docker, just like it shows here. If you've already done that, we can go ahead and press ahead. This time we're going to leverage using the bridge profile presented in Incus Containers step by step, and I'm going to do an Incus launch on our Docker container WebCheck, and I'm calling it WebCheck, and I'm setting boot.autostart equals to true, which means that any time that the Incus server starts, this particular container starts. And then I'm providing the default profile, which is the profile that's required to define where the root file system falls in the default pool, and then the bridge profile, which will bridge our container to an address on the main LAN granted by the DHCP server. Now, if I do an Incus list, WebCheck is running with an address on my main LAN of 172.16.1.233. If I head back up to my web browser and I go to 172.16.1.233 colon 3000, since WebCheck uses port 3000 by default, the application comes up and is available. I think that WebCheck will be a valuable tool that you can add to your self-hosted repertoire, and so I encourage you to go out and check it out. Anyway, that's it for today. Please subscribe and like to the channel, and don't forget to hit your notification bell, and we'll see you next time.